So the new PS Plus has finally launched in Australia and Europe. What's the latest and what do we think of the service? So the library is roughly around the same amount of PS4, PS5 games. It's approximately 390.
Sorry, there's no B-roll for this. I don't know what you're playing
Oh,
now.
it's got a note.
Final Fantasy.
It actually has a note. It says 8. It says 8 on it.
Oh, whoops.
Yeah, no, I'm like, why is this not playing?
That's my fault.
Again, I am like Anchorman. If you put a note to say, play the B-roll, I'll do it. But there are differences with the US library. So some games are not listed in the game collection page, but are part of the subscription when you look at them up manually. So Mortal Kombat 11 is an example of that. And amazingly, Tekken 2 and other games have got certain errors. So in the US, Tekken 2 was listed at $10,000. Amazingly, when Tekken 2 got released under this in Australia, it was also mispriced at 600 Australian dollars.
$600. That's for like an outright purchase.
How the fuck is that possible? Like one mistake, shame on you. You can't fool me again with a second mistake.
I'll talk a bit more to that stuff when we hit impressions. Around some of that.
But what I wanted to rant about is the PS1 emulation. That we were speculating about this for months. The early, view in Asia, them getting the PAL versions, very nervous. Then the US comes along, they get the NTSC versions. Ooh, okay. There's no such thing as PAL or NTSC anymore. We don't speak German. We don't fucking speak French in Australia. No reason to have PAL versions. Maybe there's a chance we're not going to get PAL versions. And I set this in my head. I'm like, okay, the second this gets released, I'm going on Twitter and I'm also just going to Google like the Australian, because you can Google the Australian catalog online, right?
Yeah.
To see Ape Escape. Okay, is it going to be Sony Interactive North America or Europe? Because then that basically tells you it's PAL versus NTSC. And fucking hell, we got the PAL versions. What bullshit, man. It actually fucking pisses me off so much. And because there's zero reason why we should get the PAL versions. There's zero reasonable reason we should get the fucking PAL versions. And then
it's because we're Europe. We're Europe according to the rest of the world.
Fucking stupid, right? And then this bullshit tweet that they posted actually pissed me off more. Right? So this is like PlayStation Europe, and it's actually just been picked up by PlayStation Australia as well. They posted it independently. So, quote, we're planning to roll out NTSC options for a majority, not all, majority, that's me interjecting, back to the quote, of classic games offered on the PlayStation Plus Premium and Deluxe plan in Asia, Europe, Middle East, India, South Africa, Australia, and New Zealand regions. Okay, cool. When's that? Like, why did you launch like this? I give them zero fucking benefit of the doubt here. It actually just pisses me off so much. Like, why would they release it like this? It's so insane. They got all the feedback about the PlayStation 1 Classic, which totally undersold. I'd imagine, from their budget purposes, it would have been a big flop internally. And a lot of people calling out, it just plays choppy. It doesn't play the way you'd want to play it. What would possess them to think this is a good idea? I just really don't get it. Because it doesn't even cost them anything, dude. Like, why would they release it like this? It's so weird to me.
Keep ranting. I just want this to keep going.
I'm at a point now where it's just like, I don't think I'll ever sign up because they piss me off so much about it.
Yeah.
And also the library is so shit, man. Like, sorry, I can't believe people are defending it. And, I was checking out Press Start's coverage.
So we're talking the Classics library.
The Classics library.
Yeah, the Classics library, yeah.
So, like, okay, the cloud thing for PlayStation 3. Obviously, that architecture is super complex and crazy. Seems to be very hard to emulate. And it's a lot of money. It's going to be a lot of money for them. And they're probably going to spend it. Because the thing is, if they build the emulator to work on PlayStation 5... it's probably going to work for PlayStation 6, PlayStation 7, right? Because they're not going to move back to some other crazy architecture. So it's probably worth the investment to do it once off, right? But if someone says to me, we've got PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PSP, I'm like, cool, okay, like maybe like 40 PlayStation 1 games, 30 to 40, maybe even 20 PlayStation 2 games, a dozen or 2 dozen PlayStation portable games. Like, is that an unreasonable thought pattern? Like, Nintendo are the stingiest motherfuckers, and they actually released like 30 games on NES, 30 games on SNES. Like, they're up to like 20 games on N64, right? This is the stingiest bastards in the industry, Nintendo, right? What the fuck is like PlayStation's offer? It's insane. It's like 13 PlayStation 1 games. I still don't understand the PlayStation 2 stuff. Like, am I understanding this correct? It's PlayStation 4 games, which are actual ports of PlayStation 2 games, which some are just straight ports. It's like no change to the game. Others are actually fucking remasters or even remakes. Like, I just say this. I was Googling their classics library. They classified Demon's Souls remake on the PlayStation 5, which is part of the whole thing, as a classics game as well.
I'll get to that stuff in a little bit because I signed up.
Okay, cool. Like, the last thing I'll say is I got really shitty with the Australian outlet Press Start, right? So they're the gaming like media here. They are so fucking in bed with like the publishers. And they're like, oh, this is pretty good service, but, there's some improvements and shit. And the guy's reviewing the US version of PlayStation Plus and writing an Australian article about it. I'm like, this is fucking pointless, this article. It's like, most people are not going to sign up to a US account, somehow try to get like a gift card for the US, get the account there. Like, people are not going to do that in Australia. They want to know, if I sign up in Australia, PlayStation Plus Australia, and I play the PlayStation 1 games, are they good? Like, what's the service like then? Like, what a fucking stupid article. I don't know. That gave me the absolute shits, man. Like, and then afterwards they posted, oh yeah, it seems like they are the PAL versions. They don't run that great. I'm like, guys, it's like, you're literally the biggest outlet in Australia and you're shit. It just drives me nuts, man. So anyway, ran over. Just smashed my microphone as well. But
that was awesome. I know we were like texting in group chat about this when they launched during the week, and we're just like, save it for the show.
Well, we probably should have. Like, we should have recorded because I was really pissed back then. This is like me chilled out compared. But yeah, so like, what did you sign up to? Like, and again, we need to remind everyone. There's there's Essential, Extra, Premium, and Deluxe, or is it Deluxe Premium?
It's Deluxe is what it's called.
Is Australia? Yeah. And then Premium is the better one. Yeah,
Deluxe is the third tier in Australia that is a little cheaper than like the equivalent if you would do the American version exchange rate, because it doesn't have access to PS3 games. So it's basically just giving access to, I think it's the time limited game demos or whatever, and the PS Classic stuff, which I'll get to in a second.
Yeah.
So the reason why I actually, because I wasn't planning on signing up for this.
You said you weren't going to. But
I only signed up for 1 month because what I don't really like to do too much on the show, we do it sometimes, is talk too much to stuff that we don't know, or we don't give impressions on stuff that we haven't tried out. So I said, you know what? There's a couple of games on there that I might play within this 1 month, but the idea is I'm just going to try it out. It was like $21 or something. Try it out so I can give impressions on the show, and also there's a couple of random games that I might play. But I'm not extending it until they give us a better library for those classic games. Definitely.
I want to say thank you for your service, Swinny. Swinny is like donated $21 to the show. Anyone in Twitch chat, give us $21 to offset our costs.
Anyway, no, I don't think we can even monetize on Twitch chat. So basically, I just wanted to experience, even though, there's lots of videos and stuff about there where, okay, I'll just jump in and see what it's like. Now, the first thing is there were lists out there of, as you mentioned, like Press Start, putting out an Australian list, and trying to compare the Australian library versus US library was such a frustrating task. I went through and mapped everything, and then realized that one of them didn't include any of the PS Plus collection. And I'm like, oh, God damn it, all that. And then some of them had the PS4 and PS5 games listed twice, and others. And some were just outright wrong.
Yeah.
Whereas I went... And so that's why I'm like, I'm going to actually buy it and look on the console. But we mentioned before about some games, like there's some weird errors out there in this. So the way they've split everything up, there's videos out there, but basically, you've got your full game collection, then you've got like them split into the PlayStation Classics part and then the PlayStation Plus collection part. But the idea is that a game collection part should have them all. But for instance, Mortal Kombat 11 is part of the not the PS Plus collection. That's Mortal Kombat 10. It is part of the general PS4 game collection on the new service. But if I look in the game collection, I don't see Mortal Kombat 11 there. But if I search it manually in the store, it says it's part of it and I can download it. So there's weird games that are missing from the full thing. Lots of weird teething issues. So we mentioned the whole weird Tekken price thing, but I was looking at the game collection. I was clicking a few to download. You'll laugh. The first two games I downloaded for PS4 were Balan Wonderworld and
Is that available in there? That's awesome.
and Knack.
Knack 1.
Knack 1.
That's
So
awesome.
they're the first two games. I actually played the Knack 1, but anyway, I'll talk about that next week. But I actually went to download Concrete Genie,
Yeah.
and it says it's there and it's in the game collection. But if I click through, it's the only option for me is to purchase it.
But you know what? That's like Xbox Game Pass PC. But it's like PlayStation is bad at that on the console, which I think is unforgivable.
100%. There's weird things like that. They will iron that stuff out. I'm not giving him any leeway on that.
Definitely
But I'm
not.
basically just saying they will iron it out. But it's just like, I think the way it's all set up is really weird. But ultimately, you're going to be able to find the game you want if you can't find it, but you know it's in the collection to search it manually, unfortunately. But in terms of so I did obviously try out some of the PS1 games, and we know that some of them, there's a few, I think, that might be running at NTSC, but the majority are running at that PAL.
Yeah.
I think Tekken 2, I'm not sure exactly, but that felt good. So that definitely felt like, I don't know, because I know originally in the Asia version that was NTSC, and that was one of the few exceptions.
Okay.
So I tried it. Tekken 2 feels good. Like, I don't know if it's just the game, but it felt like the input was a little laggy, but maybe that's just because Tekken 2, maybe I'm used to the newer Tekkens. And what are the other ones I tried? So Ape Escape was obviously very rough. It's still, look, all these games technically playable, right? If you go on there, they're technically playable, but it's rough. Like,
But can I just say, that you know what it reminds me of though? It reminds me of, you know, when you go to download an emulator back in the day, more so than now, and it's like on the cutting edge. And some people are like, Mario 64 is playable, but like this one's kind of playable. It's like technically you can beat the game, and what it means is it's fucking fucked up textures, and it's like bullshit. It's not seamless. It should be seamless. Like these are their fucking games, right? They should be seamless.
Of the games I tried, and this has been like the poster child for all these comparisons, but Ape Escape does feel the worst out of all the games I tried.
Which is like honestly the number one game I'd want to play on it.
Yeah, Jumping Flash, look, it played okay, but also the thing is, it's hard when you don't have a direct comparison as well. Wild Arms looks pretty rough, especially in the 3D battles. We know that was one of the ones running at PAL as well.
Bad, yeah.
So it is a fucking massive shame, honestly. And the whole collection thing. So you go in there and they're bundled in all these games, all these PlayStation 1 games, alongside those fake PS2, PS4 ports, alongside one PSP game, Echo Chrome.
So it is literally just one PSP game.
One. And they've all bundled into the PlayStation Classics part, but when you look at the icons in the interface, none of it doesn't clarify if a game is a PlayStation 1 game or not.
Yeah, I know. I noticed that as well.
All it has is like PS4/PS5 underneath it. So for us, we know what the PS1 games are, or the majority of them. But for the average Joe that's like, I've paid extra to get access to this, which ones are the PS1 games? They might not be 100% familiar. Obviously, some of them, they're going to be obvious, but they're not going to be 100% familiar which ones are the actual PS1 games. I can't find any way to just say, show me the PS1 games, even though there's only like 13 of them.
So bad, dude.
But
like, can I just add to the PSP thing? There's 1,925 PSP games that were made, and there's one available. And that's how they're advertising it. We have PSP games as part of this subscription. This is almost false advertising, man. That's a port, that game as well, by the way. Right? Yeah. So anyway, go on.
So the fact that they've got in the Classics collection, as you mentioned, Demon's Souls remake, but even Kingdom of Amalur Re-Reckoning, which is a recent remaster, next to a game like Siphon Filter, which honestly, playing Siphon Filter in this day and age is really rough control-wise. I tried. I'll probably try again, but it's tough to control. But it is just so fucking weird.
Why do they have Demon's Souls on there? It's so fucking weird.
Well, just any re-release, anything that support they just obviously needed to bolster the selection.
Yes,
Oh, these
it's
are the
lies.
classics.
It's lies, man.
But the thing is, those games are actually available to you as part of the PS4 service, anyways, like the lower tier, or I should say the middle tier.
Yeah, the
that's
middle
what-
tier. Yeah.
But let me talk about that for a bit at the moment. Like, there's a shitload of fucking great games for PS4 and PS5 in this collection.
It's insane.
When
The
we're
middle tier
talking-
is god tier. Middle tier is god tier.
PS Plus is a tale of two halves.
Yeah.
One is fucking awesome, which is the modern games and the library. Like the fact that Returnal's in there, the fact that Spider-Man Miles Morales is in there, the fact that
Red Dead
Demon's Souls
Redemption
Remake-
2, like
Yeah, there's so many games, even Valhalla, that are games that, like, when you're talking, if you use the service a lot and you want to play a lot of games, you're going to get your bang for your buck there, 100%. But the other part, that classics part, is just so woeful. Not only in the emulation part, but the library. The library is just
so
pitiful.
bad.
And the thing is,
That's a good point. Can we just dwell on that? That's such a fucking good point. Like, it's like, you know, quantity and quality and all this other kind of stuff. It's poor quality and poor quantity. Like, they've actually fucked up both. They don't need to fuck up either, but they've somehow managed, in my opinion, there's no PS2 games on there. This fucking bullshit PS4 crap, that's like not what I was expecting at all, right? Then PSP, one fucking game, right? Like, they've fucked the quality and the quantity. It's like, at least they could have just pumped in more games and go, yeah, the emulator's shit, but, you know, we're working on it. And you kind of go, oh, okay, like, you can live with it. But it's bad on both fronts. Fuck me.
Yeah, so look, I think in terms of impressions, is this service worth it? I think the second tier service, if you use it, obviously, you know, all these subscription services comes out the caveat, you've got to use it, otherwise it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Is 100% worth it. Like, while I'm only trying it for a month, you know, the fact that I'm able to just play a bunch of games in that month is probably even worth the $20, you know, like I plan on playing, like there's a bunch of games that are pretty short that I'm like, okay, PS4 games that I haven't played before, you know, but those PS5 games are massive, you know, so that you're going to get your money's worth out of that. But the classics part is 100% not worth it, especially until they figure out or they add in the NTSC versions. And again, we don't know if it's going to be how many it's going to be. Like, surely they've got to fix the first party Sony ones in there, you know. Well, actually, I think they're all first party at the moment, but anyway, it's except Resident Evil Director's Cut. But
Yeah, I think like they need to get PlayStation 3 emulation working, so it's not cloud, right? I feel like that's a threshold. That's a minimum threshold for me. And then totally bolster the emulator and then also the library of the thing. You know, like, to recap, it's like, because I've shat on it like so much, obviously, but the PlayStation Plus Deluxe tier, the highest tier for Australia, to me, that's like trash. That's trash tier, right? And it's the most expensive tier, funnily enough. The PlayStation Plus Extra tier, the middle tier in Australia, which works out to be about, like, if you subscribe for a year, like $11.25. That's like god tier. That's if you like, sure, if you're like me, even who's like had a PlayStation 4 or 3 and bought some games, not even that many, it's sort of like, it's still good, but it's not that great. But for you, who's like, you didn't have a PS4, it is insane. It's like, honestly, it's better than Game Pass. It's better than Xbox Game Pass. You don't have the day and date stuff, but the library is insane for the amount of money you pay.
It is bloody awesome. And the only reason why I wouldn't probably just like the next month just stay on that lower tier is just there's just lots of games that I'm playing that I just, again, like, I don't want to pay for a service I'm probably not going to use, but in the future, 100%, like, there's so many good games.
Can I say two things? One, make sure you go to, and it's so convoluted, but you've got to make sure you go to the PlayStation Plus collection on your PS5 and add all the games. Yeah. Because so that will stay part of your library.
So that does stay.
The PlayStation Plus collection. All right.
So that doesn't expire when your PS Plus
So when your PS Plus expires, you won't be able to play them. But if you ever renew or like reactivate it, they're playable. They will get rid of all of those games eventually.
I understand.
They've already pretty much said that they've already removed, I think, one of the games from there. So, like, they're very good games, the PlayStation Plus collection games.
Oh, crazy games.
Yeah. So, because you could even subscribe to the lowest tier, which is only like $80 a year, and then play those again. And then the other thing is play Spider-Man, man. Like, even just
Spider-Man, man.
even if it's like for an hour or two, it's fucking awesome game, man.
I'm too busy playing Knack. Sorry.
I know. I love it. Balan Wonderworld or Wonderland. I don't even know.
Wonderworld.
Wonderworld.
I'm gonna give my Knack impressions next week.
And then fucking like Knack instead of like Spider-Man. Play Spider-Man, man. It's like fucking such a cool game, man. It's like it's gonna go gangbusters on PC. Like that game is gonna sell monster numbers. And I'm jealous of all the people who are going to be playing it on the Steam Deck. But okay, so thumbs up, thumbs down. What do you reckon, Swinny? PlayStation Plus, the new
thumbs up, but just get the second tier.
Okay, yeah, second tier, big thumbs up. Top tier, big thumbs down. Yeah, I think that's what we were all going to expect was going to happen. But yeah, man, it's so disappointing. It just shits me that they've put the fucking PAL versions on it. It's like our childhood. It's like trauma. You know,
and that's the thing. It's like, Jumping Flash is exactly how I remember it. Yeah, because of the bloody PAL version.
And like, people don't understand this from America, that we played these games not knowing that we're playing like shitty versions of these games in a way. Like, they didn't make it. They didn't intend it to be played the way we played it. Not all games, but a lot of games that we played. And it's like, fuck, man. Like, I can't believe we have to still live through this like 30 years later.
Sony, I can't believe you've done this.
Beautiful segue. All right, let's jump into the next bit of news.